All right, what's up, guys? We're back. We are doing a comparison video. Who do we think will win the Eagle Nationals? We've got 4 drivers on our list that are going to be there from the World of Outlaws. We thought there were going to be a couple more. Unfortunately, those wishes did not come true. I did put yesterday in my video, we had David Gravel and Sheldon Haudenschild on the entry list, but they will not be there as of now unless they make some kind of surprise entrance. But right now, we've got 4 Outlaw guys going to be there. And I'm going to put them up against, my opinion, the best 4 guys who I think have the best chance to win from the high limit racing side of things. Basically, what I'm doing here is the guy that's number 1 on each list, I feel like from that faction, either the Outlaws or high limit, I think that guy is going to be the best from that side of things. And then, second, third, all the way back, right? So we've got the magnets for the high limit guys. I got a magnet for the Outlaws. I promise you, I do have magnets coming for all the Outlaw guys for later videos when we get to the Nationals and Kings Royal and things like that. Don't have them quite yet. They're in the mail. They will be there in just a few days at my house. So also want to mention real quick before we get into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're very close to 2,000 subscribers here on the YouTube channel, which would be really, really cool to hit that already. So let's jump in, and we're going to start from the bottom and go to the top. And so 4th on my list from high limit, when we look at these things I have written down here, the first line is where they finished at in their one attempt or their previous attempt at Eagle Raceway. The second line is their finishes on 1/3 mile racetracks this year, which is what Eagle Raceway is according to their website. And the third line is their average finish in the last 10 races. So the 4th place guy on high limit side of things here, let me grab his magnet real quick. And that would be Rico Abreu. So I got Rico at 4th overall for high limit to maybe take the win in the Eagle Nationals. And I didn't mention this, but you can see on the board there, 55,555 to win. So Rico was very good at Eagle last year. He finished 2nd in the feature after leading 14 laps. And in his 3 races he's had so far this year with high limit on the 1/3 mile racetracks, 7th, 17th, and 3rd. And his average finish over the last 10 races at 5.5, including 2 wins in there as well. Obviously picked up the win just a few weeks ago, or a few nights ago at I-70, and a few weeks ago at Utica Rome in New York. Now, both of those racetracks are on half miles, but Rico has been stringing together some podiums here recently, and I think they are finding that speed that they're hitting their stride like they were last year in 2023 when, all right, we had an equipment malfunction there, but we're going to keep on going. So Rico, I feel like those guys have been putting everything together here recently. They've been fast. They've been winning races here recently as well. But the smaller track side of things has not really been their strong suit so far this year, but it does seem like they're going in the right direction. And I like the recency bias of him winning here and running well. So I got Rico at 4th on the high limit racing side of things. Now, when it comes to the Outlaws, let me grab my marker here. The 4th guy on this one, since there's only 4 of them in the first place, 4th on mine, he was only ran here 1 time, and he actually did not qualify for the feature in 2017. His finishes on 1/3 mile racetracks so far this year, the Outlaws have had 7 races on 1/3 miles, 5th, 14th, 8th, 2 7ths, and a 4th. So kind of been all over the map when it comes to his finishes on these types of racetracks. And in his last 10 races, his average finish is 7.5. And we've already seen him run once this year with high limit at Port Royal Speedway. And sorry about the handwriting. It is going to be absolutely terrible. But it is Logan Schuchart. That almost looks like a 15 for Donnie Schatz, but that is the 1S for Logan Schuchart. So Schuchart, we'll see what he can do here. Obviously, this place hasn't been very nice to him in the past. And, just looking at his overall stats this year, we did a whole video on it a few weeks ago. Hasn't been on the podium for any race this year. No laps led and no wins. So it would definitely be a shock if he was able to pull it off at Eagle with, those stats in mind. But Logan Schuchart, we've seen him win some huge races in the past, and so it would not be shocking, I guess, to see him pick up a huge win. But with some of the guys in the field, it is going to be very tough, I think, for him. So we got Logan Schuchart at 4th on the World of Outlaws side of things. Now moving back over to high limit and 3rd on our list. He's been pretty good this year so far, I guess you could say. He's only ran here 1 time. That was 4th back in 2017 against the Outlaws. His 3 finishes this year on 1/3 miles, 4th, 3rd, and 4th, so has not missed the top 5 in any of them. And his average finish over the last 10 races is inside the top 5 as well. It's a 4.9 average finish in the last 10, and that is going to be Brad Sweet. So we got Brad Sweet at number 3 to win the Eagle Nationals as far as high limit goes. Brad Sweet, it doesn't matter what racetrack it is, he's going to be really, really fast. He's going to be in the mix. We know that he's going to be contending for a top 5 tomorrow. when it gets all, gets to the nitty gritty types of things. So we'll see what Brad Sweet can do. I got a feeling that, he's going to be at one point in time battling for the lead or battling for a podium. You can never count this guy out. And so we've got him at number 3. I just think there's 2 guys on that side of things that are a little bit better, have a little bit better chance to win on this type of racetrack than Brad Sweet going into this one. So looking at our 3rd guy on the Outlaw side of things, he was at this race last year with High Limit Racing. He finished 3rd in that event after starting back, and I want to say like 18th or 17th. He came forward a ton. His finishes this year on 1/3 miles, 4th, 9th, 14th, 6th, 5th, and 3rd. So a little bit more like, Logan Short. I mean, he was kind of the same thing, kind of all over the board. No wins, some top 10s and a couple of races where he finished outside the top 10 as well. And this guy, average finish in the last 10 races, 5.6. So he's been pretty good here as far as the recency goes as well. And that is going to be, once again, pardon my handwriting, but that is Gio Scelzi in the 18. Once again, I will have magnets for these guys here soon, so you don't have to look at my terrible handwriting anymore. But Gio Scelzi last year was really good at this race. He's been good. If you look at his overall stats against High Limit, he got that big win at Lakeside last year as well. And it seems like Gio likes to race against High Limit because he runs very well against them. So we'll see what Gio can make happen. I've got him 3rd overall for the Outlaw side of things going into this race. And he's been really solid all year long on the Outlaw side of things, right there in the top 5 in points. Got a win or 2 in there as well. So we'll see what he can do, and got him 3rd on the Outlaws. So let's go back over to High Limit for number 2 on our list. This guy's been pretty solid so far this year. He was 24th in this race in 2023. Not sure what happened to him there, but did not have a good finish at Eagle last year. But I'm not going to let that hurt him in these rankings here. His finishes this year on 1/3 miles, 13th, 1st, and 2nd. That 13th place run prior to his DNF at I-70 this last weekend was the worst finish he'd had all year, and that was the first race of the year at East Bay, right? So we know how good he's been so far this year. 8 second-place finishes. Average finish in the last 10 is 6.4, which has been hurt a little bit by that DNF at I-70, and that would be Tyler Courtney in the 7BC. So I feel like this racetrack right up his alley, up on the wheel, 2 lanes, sliders, all that types of things. We've seen him do very, very well on these types of tracks this year. And I mean, I think he even ran a couple of Outlaw races on these types of tracks. I think he ran like Arrowhead or something earlier in the year, and he was decent there as well. So Tyler Courtney, him just like Brad Sweet, I feel like those two, they're the best guys right now with High Limit. They're the most consistent guys. You know where they're going to be at in the race. They're going to be in the top 10 somewhere, and cannot count him out going into Eagle Raceway coming up tomorrow night. Now back over to the Outlaws. So it was tough for me to put, 1st or 2nd for the Outlaws side of things because I feel like these 2 guys are very, very close right now. They have been super close as far as wins and just running in the top 5 and on the podium here recently. But we're going to go with number 2 at, let's just go put it up there right now. I got a magnet for him because, well, his teammate runs with High Limit, and that is Buddy Kofoid. So Kofoid last year finished 4th in this race with High Limit in 2023. His finishes so far this year, fantastic on 1/3 miles, 7th, 5th, 1st, 2nd, 2nd, and 7th. And his last 10 finishes, 4.8 average finish. Buddy Kofoid has been fantastic this year with the Outlaws, a great addition to that series. And I think, he's going to be tough to beat when it comes to Eagle Raceway tomorrow night. He showed up at Kokomo against High Limit and led a bunch of laps in that feature event. Went from 4th to 1st in the heat race and was on the pole of the dash. And so, Buddy Kofoid's going to be right there. So, Kofoid, number 2 on the Outlaw side of things for me. Now back over to High Limit, and number 1, this guy doesn't have the best average finish in the last 10 races. He's got decent results on the 1/3 miles this year with High Limit, but I just feel like this racetrack is right up his alley on the tracks that he has won at this year, with the exception of I-70. They all are, I guess, kind of similar in shape and size, right? And so I feel like you got to put him up there. It might be a little bit of a wild card. He may flip, he may win. I have no idea, but we're going to go with Corey Day. I like Corey Day's chances going into this one, especially coming off a win at a big racetrack here recently. He's got that confidence. He already had the confidence, right, on these small racetracks, but now he's won on a big track. I feel like, and he was running, podium before he hit the wall there on the second night at I-70. Corey Day's got a lot of things going right for him right now. He was 10th at this race in 2023, and that was before he had all of the success that he's had this year, right? He didn't have 3 High Limit wins going into that race last year, right? And he's got a lot of momentum on his side. His finishes this year on 1/3 miles, 6th, 2nd, and 5th. And his average finish in the last 10 races, 11.1, hindered by 2 races where he finished outside the top 20. But I think that this is a racetrack that Corey Day is going to be absolutely fantastic on. And so I've got him at number 1 for high limit. If a high limit guy wins, in my opinion, it's either going to be Corey Day, then Tyler Courtney, then Brad Sweet, and then Rico Abreu. Now back to the Outlaw side of things, our number 1 guy over there, and I'll talk about it here in a moment, but his finishes this year on this type of racetrack have been crazy. It is going to be Carson Macedo. So Carson Macedo, that is actually a 41. If you didn't know, his number is 41, not whatever I just wrote on the board. It's absolutely terrible handwriting, but it's Carson Macedo. It is actually going to be his Eagle Raceway debut, first time he's ever been to the racetrack, and so he'll have a little bit of time to adjust, but I don't think it's going to take him that long. This guy's been on the Outlaw Tour for a long time. He knows what it takes to get to a new track and make it go fast. But listen to these finishes on 1/3 miles this year. When I did this, I had to do 3 times. I was like, there's no way he's been this good, right? Second, first, second, third, fifth. His worst finish on a 1/3 mile this year is a 5th place result. His average finish in the last 10 races, 2.5, which if you look at everybody on the board, it is the best out of all those drivers, all 8 of them on the board right now. Carson Macedo, I think if an Outlaw guy wins, it is either going to be him and then Buddy Kofoid, maybe Gio Selzy, and then Logan Schuart with an outside shot there in that 4th spot as well. So Carson Macedo, he's been on a heater recently, and I don't expect to see him be any different when it comes to Eagle Raceway coming up here. Obviously, a little bit of a different format with with the guy going quick time, going to 4th and whatnot, but I don't think it's going to affect him at all. And I think he's going to be really, really fast come tomorrow night and be right there in the thick of things for 55,555 to win. Now, I know what you're thinking, Chase, why don't you have Kyle Larson on the side with High Limit Racing? Well, I just wasn't really sure if that was a fair comparison. He's not a full-time contender with High Limit, although he's ran every race he's ran in a sprint car this year has been with High Limit, with the exception of that one when it was supposed to be a night where High Limit actually rained out and he drove over and went to Jacksonville. Other than that, he's been only High Limit only this year, So, but I just didn't think it was fair to put Kyle Larson on there. There are so many guys showing up tomorrow night that are not on either side of this board. They're not High Limit. They're not the Outlaws. They're going to have a really, really good shot to win, in my opinion. Anthony Macri really comes to mind. Kyle Larson, whatever you want to say about him, he's going to have a fantastic shot. He's the defending winner. Austin McCarl is going to be there. Aaron Reitzel, Chase Randall. I mean, there's just so many good cars that are going to be there. If you don't know who's going to be there, make sure to go check out that race preview we did yesterday. We got some of the names on the board there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Make sure to watch tomorrow on Flow Racing. If not, hopefully we see you there at Eagle Raceway in Nebraska tomorrow night for the Bikini Zone Eagle Nationals. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk to you again here soon.